you have an impact because I assume this is bush country, and if it's not bush country, he's got a problem, right? You know, so it is. This is how this was, I believe, John McCain's strongest part in 2000, and so clearly it's how big is the establishment wing of the Republican Party? We'll know by how well I think a Jeb Bush does here, and of course this is where Lindsey Graham could cause Jeb some problems on that front. So look, part of the difficulty in handicapping the influence of South Carolina is Lindsey, right? So how you already have like a whole bunch of operatives that are sort of frozen, right? They've, out of respect to Lindsey, they want to see how this plays out. You know, he's got to walk a fine line here. On one hand, he's certainly a formidable political, formidable politician. On the other hand, the industry of South Carolina presidential politics is being threatened by a favorite son, and you know, he's got to make sure the political class doesn't become resentful of him, of lowering the temperature of the state. I don't think it will. I mean, we'll see. I think, you know, I think South Carolina Republican voters are so used to now being involved in picking the president that while Lindsey has an advantage in name ID, you know, he's not dominating the polls. He's just within the top tier. So I think ultimately, I don't think he's going to chase candidates away, which I think was a bit of fear. But the stronger he is, the more that hurts Bush, and the more likely it is that you'll have a conservative. You know, I think Jeb's got to figure out where to win. And my theory has always been he secretly is it's not just a theory of mine, but I've talked to some Bush people who have hinted at this, that while they're trying to portray the idea that they don't need to win any of the early states, that they're built for the long haul, the place that they would like to sort of shock the world is right here in South Carolina. History's on their side, right? George H.W. Bush put Dole away in '88 here in South Carolina. George W. Bush saved his candidacy right here in South Carolina. And so the Bush family certainly has had success here in South Carolina. I think in a crowded primary of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candidates that are still in the running, that math is pretty good for him. It worked out real well for John McCain in 2008. So, you know, that's how I think South Carolina stays influential, and I think it's a potential place for Bush's first breakout moment. The other role South Carolina can end up playing is sort of the final elimination of the conservative primary, right? If you had 4 or 5 candidates, of Huckabee, Cruz, Santorum, throw Scott Walker in there if he's sort of in that, you know, it could be sort of the survivor portion of the primary season where, you know, it finishes winnowing the conservative end of the field, and I think that's another role South Carolina can end up playing. Look, I think financially you play a role. This is where the wealth, you know, where are the wealthier donors? They're down here, so there is a financial role I think the area plays. So that means that you'll see the candidates more than you would if you had just this small number of voters that didn't have money. So it does mean you get more exposure to the candidates. But as far as when the campaign heats up, when it's about finding voters rather than finding money, I mean, look, Charleston, you know, why do you rob banks? You know, you go where it's where the money is. Why do you campaign in Charleston and Columbia? Go where the voters are.